Like a casino, Tuesday, June 19th. You can still sign up. They've got a lot of seats if you're interested. And you can call 679-4386 if you want to join a heck of a crowd and have a lot of fun. Next party at the Fredonia Beaver Club is scheduled for Saturday, August 5th. Watch the Observer, Living Page Senior News, which is a terrific insert. And now they're telling me if I don't get off the air right now, they're just going to shut me off. Because John Hamels is about ready to come up after we have this public service announcement for you. And this is just for you.
Conversations change lives. Lucia knows.
My sister thought she was too young to complete an advance directive. When she got very sick, we didn't know what was important to her. But through God's grace, she survived. So I made sure I had conversations with my sons about our values and beliefs. Now, we all have our advance directives.
Start your conversation. Visit compassionandsupport.org.
They're always wormy. Old mushrooms. Look at these mushrooms. These are the hen of the woods, right? Chicken of the woods, hen of the woods, depending on who you... Look at these here. They are incredible mushrooms. Gail found those out on the woods where my old friend Pavel, the dog, was buried, right next to there. And maybe he's sending them up to us. And they are just delicious. But you have to, like any wild mushroom, brine them before you eat them, and because they have little tiny worms in them, and they all drop out, and little bugs and so forth. They all drop out, and then it's fresh and sweet and good. And this is a free gift. This is about $20 worth of wild mushrooms for free. Just pick them off the woods. All right, we got a guy here. He shoots for John Hamels. Doc, you're on, Doc.
Morning, Reed. Good morning, Gail. Good morning, folks. Just a note from our attorney from the show here. They wanted me to announce that for kids at home listening, don't try the bottle in the creek and light the gas, okay? Only do that with an established old person. Okay.
Well, we used to do it.
Well, I'm sure you did it. Look how you turned out. Anyways, Reed, I want to talk a little bit about some things today that it's kind of loose, but it'll all come together, I hope, as I usually do. I pulled a note out of my songbook because there were some words that are from a song by Woody Guthrie that kind of been in my head lately that Bill and I have been playing, and this is called This Land Is Your Land. But listen to these words. We were talking about history and so forth, and I'll be talking about some events that are going on right now. But the words are, this land is your land. That seems pretty simple. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me. And you know, every time I listen to you talking about, you know, what's going on with Congress and so forth, you know, this is our land, and we've all made efforts to make this a great country, and there's some other things that have been going on right now from a historical point of view, is that my son Scott texted me from Europe, in France, and I know, Reed, that you've been real involved with the French country, and I'm getting distracted over here. I'm watching what's going on. The mushrooms are taking flight. All right, all right, all right. Anyways, on a serious note, Scott was asked, part of his crew, the Special Forces, they joined in a commemoration of the D-Day, June 6th, when we invaded the beaches of Normandy, and Scott was part of a jump crew. I forgot, it was like 6,500 parachuters jumped in commemoration of that day, of all the Americans that were part of that. And Scott was very emotional in his text, and he was amazed by how many grave sites are there, and memorials and stones and so forth. And so I guess my theme right now is just remembering the individual, whether it's the individual soldier that's made this country great, the bricklayer, the person that's helped build the railroads or whatever. It's one person, one step at a time. Going right along with that, there's some more history going on around this. There's a big operation going here to my right. Today, over in Westfield, you've got the Civil War encampment. Reed, you heading over there at all?
Oh, I saw them.
They're starting to set up?
Tents are all set up, and of course they shoot the guns off, although they made them use less powder in the cannons because they were afraid it would break down the the museum there.
Oh, the McClurg, okay.
The McClurg Mansion,
yeah. That's probably pretty, it's a little bit rickety, it's old.
Well, you know, it's quite a shock to hear one of those thunderous
Sure is.
cannons go off.
Well, anyways, today, all day, they're having the Civil War encampment, I believe tomorrow as well.
Yes.
And it's honoring the 9th New York Cavalry. And from 6 to 8 in the McClurg Mansion, which is also the site of the Chautauqua Historical Society, there's going to be a fundraiser, $50 a person, and there's music provided by two really cool guys, me and Bill. We're everywhere this summer. But it's going to be at the McClurg, and that's going to be a lot of fun. But if you want a fun day, I think it's $5 to get into the Civil War encampment and take the kids or whatever. Lots of history. And again, remembering it was one soldier at a time that helped to keep the Union together here in the United States. We got a poster. We'll shoot on that here in a minute. I don't know, Randy, can you catch that? Coming up also on June, what does it say? I can't even remember. June 21st, there's a special thing, and this might be near and dear. Yeah, there we are, the boys. Bill and I are going to be playing at another event, which is in history and nature, at the Bemis Point. It's called the Lawson Boating Museum, and in fact, we were talking about that when we just got here, and Gail was saying how much they've invested in that, and it's just a beautiful location. And the librarian out there, Kathy McCarthy, is collecting history, oral history of Chautauqua County and all the events around the lake and so forth. So that's coming up on June 21st. You got the encampment today and just remembering Normandy D-Day. Back to you, Reed.
Thanks a lot. Well, so many wonderful things happening in this county, especially around this time of year when the summer is lovely. We have the art shows. We have the arts and crafts all over the place. We have farmers markets in almost every major town or village, and we have, so many things. The Civil War encampment, and I think you can kind of just wander around there. They don't charge anything unless you want the full works. So I think it's $5 to get in the museum, but who knows. But go on over and wander around. Talk to them. They love to talk to you. They have their camps. They have their original clothing. They have uniforms, original uniforms. And they do skirmishes. They'll have a little battle going every once in a while. Occasionally they shoot off a cannon to let you know they're there. And they have the original pots and the pans and everything that he used to use to cook with. The tents are original. It's just fantastic. That's in Westfield at the McClurg Mansion. Around it, you'll see them all encamped around it with their campfires going. We have enough going on without going on to the tourism, because that's part of tourism. But we do have a specialist in tourism here, Gail Black, and she has been good enough to give up her Saturday morning to come in and give you a few tips, talk about how she's set up, and we'll be talking about the place I used to live. Was in my family for, as I said, over 100 years. And when Aunt Em had it, she died at 102, I might add. And it's now being very beautifully taken care of. It's a special place on earth. It has about a fifth of a mile when we were there of lakefront. Actually, it was just gorgeous. And it has some deep beach. It has a little creek that goes down there, and you could sit there and catch bullheads as fast as you could pull them out of the water when the apple blossom blooms, which is right about a little past now.
Yeah, a little past.
A little past. But around the last 2 weeks in May, you'd go out and catch a bunch of night crawlers and just pick them up in the woods and get a can of them and go down with a bamboo pole, just so you whip it out, and you set 3 hooks on a piece of chalk line. That's all you had to do. Put a sinker on it, and you drop it in with a worm. And sometimes you bring in 2 or 3 of these bullheads at a time. One problem with bullheads is skinning them. You got to skin the darn things. Although I think that if I were to do it today, I think I'd barbecue them, and that would make the skin come right off, slip off like a banana peel. And it'd dry them up too. But at any rate, Gail, welcome aboard, and nice to see you here.
Thank you.
Well, tell me,
nice to be here, Reed.
Well, I'm glad you gave up Saturday morning to come in here. And anybody who wants to call in, the number is 753-JACK or 753-5225. And you can ask Gail a question, you can talk to her, you can give her ask for some advice, or if you want to start a tourism thing, you are unemployed, you can do that. And this is the place to do it, right here. Now you have a sort of a beautiful setup over there. How did you wind up over there? You used to be a mink farmer, as I recall.
That's right. I was a mink farmer in Jamestown and Sinclairville. I went to Bemis Point to school and ended up in Westfield along Lake Erie. And it was a rather unusual almost too peculiar to be true story, but this is how it happened. I was going to marry the chief of police in Westfield, Floyd Black. Had to move to Westfield, couldn't find a place in the village because I had 12 ducks and 7 rabbits and a pet raccoon.
And a mink or two?
Yeah, a mink or two and an Airedale dog, and we just didn't fit in the village. So I went to Shelley Green, who was the mayor, and told him that I couldn't find a place to accommodate us. And he said, well, I'm an old farmer, we'll change the rules. So he changed the rules, the town board or the village board did, to say that anyone could live within 5-mile radius. So I began
5 miles radius of what?
Westfield. If you worked for the village of Westfield, you had to live in Westfield.
That's right, Floyd worked for the village,
yes.
yeah. He was
And
chief,
so,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they allowed us to live within a 5-mile range. And one day I had something that I refer to as a vision. It was a strange little phenomenon. I was feeding the mink and working very hard. We were raising 5,000 of them.
5,000 minks?
Yes, and
That's a
they
lot
had
of
to
coats.
be fed and watered every single day. So I was feeding and I got this little vision, and I knew that if I left right then to go to Westfield, I would find a house that was right. I looked and looked, couldn't find anything, ended up at Love's gas station, and Ruth Love came out, and I said, do you know of any house here that sits high on the hill and overlooks Lake Erie that's for sale? And she said, no, I don't. And I said, well, you should, because you sell them fuel oil. And I had no idea the gas station had a fuel oil business, and I was shocked when I said it. And she said, just a minute, Art Tennant just became a real estate man, and he's got a place that he just listed. And I said, can you call him? Nope, he left for a vacation. He isn't home. I said, well, please go to the phone and call him. She did. He had gone home because he forgot something, met me at the thruway, and the people that were with me, I said, now I'm going to prove that they said I was crazy. I said, I'm going to prove I'm right, because when we walk in that house, excuse me, there will be 5 dark beams across the ceiling, and sure enough, there were.
No, that was the living room.
Yep, that was the living room, Reed. And the house had gotten in terrible disrepair. It was filthy dirty. No one had cut the grass or taken care of the brush. It was awful. But it was a wonderful place. I bought it on the spot right then. I said, I'll take it. He said, well, what are you going to do? You don't even know how much it is or so forth. I said, it'll all work out. And it did. And I've been there 43 years.
And you've greatly improved it. Now, what year was this you bought it?
1969.
69. We left
And I
56.
assumed a mortgage for $9,000.
Yeah, that's a gift. It's probably worth
Yes, it
$1
was.
million today.
And I believe I was predestined to be there, meant to be there, and supposed to be doing the Sugar Shack.
Well, and here you are at the
Yep.
Sugar Shack. We've got a couple calls. You want to take one?
Sure.
Hey, good morning, caller. Thank you for waiting.
Good morning, Reed.
What's up?
I'd like to talk a little bit about Dave Lawson Boat Museum in Bemis Point. It's just opened up last week, and it's a tourist attraction. It's A1 for Chautauqua County. They have invested almost $1 million in the renovation. Have you had an opportunity to go through it yet?
Sadly, I haven't, but I wonder, where do you get $1 million these days?
Well, you find somebody around the lake with a lot of money. I don't know. It wasn't me. If you grew up in this area, you may have ridden on the steamer, the City of Jamestown, as a child.
I may have. I do remember the JW&W Railroad.
Wow, you're way back.
Yes, indeed.
Anyway, part of this museum has some parts of the steamer, the steamship Jamestown, and it has a lot of other interesting things. It's opened on the weekends, and I think on Fridays also, and you ought to take a trip over there. You would absolutely love it. It is a first-class boat museum.
Now, where is it in Bemis?
Do you know where the Italian fisherman is? Or
Yes,
where
I do.
Hare and Hound is?
Yeah.
Right across the street from the Hare and Hound.
Okay, I used to spend a lot of time there when I was in college.
At the Hare and Hound.
Yep.
Actually, it was a LMS Aero Marine, and it started back in about 1918 or someplace in there. And Dave Lawson's father was repaired cars and boats in the same place.
Well, now tell me, what kind of boats do you have here? Do you have big boats, little boats? How many boats?
Oh, probably, I'm going to guess about 20 boats, everything from 5 different kinds of sailboats to those sculls, you know, the little rowing things that you have.
Sure, to get out to your boat.
And then you have
they race sculls, right? They race them.
What's that?
They race sculls.
Yes, that's it. They're there. And they have some other boats that are, of course, wooden boats, outboards. They have racing boats from boats used to race in Bemis Point back in the 50s, the outboard racing
Well,
boats.
since
Anyway, so it's quite a selection.
Since